Now I'm live again. Let me see if you can hear me. Testing. I'm live again. Let me see if we're good. Let's go. God damn. So I was gonna pull up. Let me pull up the mammy. So this is another image. This is the image of black women. This is one of the images, one of the characters they had black women play. I do not want the video file. I want to share the screen. So this is the image. The images that black women played. And those images were the mammy. You probably heard black women call other black women mammies, right? And it was this image, the ancient Mima, and I believe this sister right here was actually a sister that a lot of black people in the black community came up against because she played those roles, but it was successful for her. I believe she even won a movie awards for her acting, right? But this has always been a traditional thing also, as being like the help, being the helpers in a household. And so just going back to what I was talking about, the images do something to you when you see them on the screen. Now you think about white people. White people have been superheroes. They have been the hero of the movie. They have been the villain and the hero. And meanwhile, you play somebody on the edge of society. You play somebody that is, destroying your people, and it makes you think that this is a good thing. Like, they're on TV, they're acting, they're making money. I want to be like Ice Cube. I want to be like O-Dog. I want to be like those brothers in Shatas. I want to be like, the hardcore, the hardest niggas that I see on the silver screen. And it also makes black men think, well, maybe it's not really nothing wrong with putting on a dress. It's just acting. They're not really, it's not like he's wearing a dress when he's not working. He's just putting it on just for the movie. But you got to understand, like, in order to have your integrity, your dignity, man, you can never do nothing like that. You could never put on a dress, be in a scene with another man. None of those things. The Lord is against it. Right. You know what I mean? The Lord is definitely against it. And when you look at our community, it's destroyed for those reasons, because we think that we can do certain things, and we think that it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's a big deal to the Lord. It's a big deal to the Lord. Now, give me what I wanted to give me the precept that I had you hold.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 10. Therefore, O thou son of man, speak unto the house of Israel. Thus ye speak, saying, if our transgressions and our sins be upon us, and we pine away in them, how should we then live? Verse 11, say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
The Lord has no pleasure in us dying. The Lord has no pleasure in us living a hard life. The Lord has no pleasure of us, being unalive senselessly. He don't take pleasure in that. Go ahead.
But that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from evil. Turn ye from your evil ways. For why will ye die, O house of Israel?
Why would you die? Why don't you just turn from your evil ways? Why don't you turn from accepting what America shoves down your throat? Turn away from accepting what this man has shoved down your throat and what this man wants to promote to your people. He wants to promote death and destruction. Right. He wants to promote Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. He wants to promote your daughters destroying themselves. There's a video, I'm sure y'all seen it, with black mothers on strip poles with their daughters in some strip pole classes. But that didn't come by accident. That came by us following another nation. That came by us not following the law, statute, and commandments like we read in Deuteronomy. That came by us following another nation that's been doing it. Like when you talk about the things that we do in the things that are horrible in our community, you have to understand that the white man was doing them first.
Right.
Whether it's drug dealing, drug selling, murdering, raping, robbing, he was doing it first. And we just took from his lead. Now, that's not an excuse. We can't use him as an excuse when we have the foundation of who we are in our identity. The Lord is not going to stand by us with that. We can't have any excuses now. Now that we know better, we can't have an excuse. We have to change. We have to do better in our communities. We have to do better according to the scriptures. If you could give me Deuteronomy 23:6. Something I wanted to touch on was MLK. His birthday just passed. We all know, especially in the truth, you already know that MLK, he failed his people. He was weak. He didn't know any better. Like your Christian pastor doesn't know any better, and he thinks he's leading you to the promised land. Well, he's not leading you to the promised land. He's leading you to the slaughter. He's leading you to death. He's leading you to a place where you're going to be praying to white Jesus until the day that you drop in the grave, and you'll never change. You'll just keep hoping and hoping and hoping and singing and holding hands with the same people who have oppressed you and have never, ever even apologized for the things that they have done to your ancestors. Right. If you could give me that, what I asked for.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 6. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all thy days forever.
Now, Martin Luther King seeked the peace and the prosperity of America. He joined his people to America, joined his people, as in his own words, to a burning house. He said he feared that he integrated them into a house that was on fire. And that, I mean, just think about that. Taking your family, the people that you love, to a house that is burning in flames. You would not run to the house. You would try to get out of the way of the house. You would want to get far from that house because you wouldn't want any flames or fires to even hit your babies or hit your family or the ones that you love. But he explained that, you know what? Maybe what I did wasn't a good idea. And yeah, it wasn't a good idea because Martin Luther King followed another man from another nation. I brought this out last year. I brought this out in the class. Martin Luther King followed Mahatma Gandhi. He followed the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. And Gandhi was a racist towards black people. And not only that, Gandhi was said to have wanted to sleep with his niece naked in order to show how much he could be sexually restrained. He was an old elderly man that wanted to sleep naked with his niece just to show that he could abstain from sexual activity. This is the man that Martin Luther King patterned his nonviolent protest after. He didn't pattern it after Christ, after the Lord, after the history or the knowledge in the scriptures. Right. He patterned it from another nation. And so now you see that dream was a nightmare. Now you see that thing that he wanted. Oh, you see it now. You see it in black men putting on dresses. You see it in black and Hispanic people being heavily into the LGBTQ. We joined with America. We are accepted by America, and we took on America's ways, and those ways have hurt us as a group of people. Right. Those ways have not prospered us. They have not made us successful. We are in the same economic position that we were in 60 years ago when it comes to the black community. Nothing has changed. Integration, like when something integrates, right? When something integrates, it's supposed to be equal. When something integrates, it's supposed to be one, equal. That's not what happened when we came together with white America. Right. What ended up happening is we still got treated the same way, but we were under a illusion that we were equal. But when you look back, you see that nothing has changed. Even today, you still have them saying this is the first black man that is president of this company. This is the first Hispanic woman that is president of this, because you wasn't equal. Right. They're allowing you to get into certain positions. They're allowing you to have certain jobs. They're allowing you to be in certain parts of government. But if you were equal, they would have just allowed you right off the top. They would have just said, yeah, whatever job you want, you can apply for, you'll get it. Right. They have to make laws in order for us to go to college. They have to make laws against themselves. They have to come with affirmative action and all kind of things in order for you just to get an equal standing with white people. That don't sound like it's equal to me. That don't sound like a dream that I want. Right. I don't want that dream. You know the dream I want? I want the dream where a black man named Jesus Christ rules the earth and everybody bows down to him, and we all keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and we don't have to beg for jobs. Right. We don't have to go to nobody and say, can I live? Please let me live. We don't have to do that. All we have to do is turn to the Lord, keep the law, statutes, and commandments, face the east, and do what the Lord says, and we'll be all right, and we'll live plentifully. Right. We'll have everything that we ever wanted, things that we can't even imagine. That's the type of dream that I have. That's the righteousness, or that's the equality that I want. I want that type of equality. Right. You know what I mean? I want the equality where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are on an equal playing field and ruling the whole goddamn earth. That's right. Understand? Is there any more on that? A lot. Is no more? No. Okay. You could drop that. Give me Hosea 4:6.
Is it 4:6?
Come.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Right. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Mm-hmm. Verse 7.
You can read it from the top one more time. Salakia.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge.
The Bible says that we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We're not destroyed because we can't get the knowledge. We're destroyed for a lack of it. We're destroyed because we're not searching for it. We're destroyed because we don't care for it. You know, it's a hard thing to understand, like, the things that I do as far as like researching and things like that. It's very hard to look at black people and see that we don't give a damn about our heritage. We don't give a damn about who we are. We think we know who we are, and we're full of feeling. Right. But we don't even have any initiative to try to seek out who we are, and that is a lack of knowledge. Right. We die because of it. We suffer because of it. The lack of knowledge. Having an identity is everything to any people on the earth. When it comes to people, when it comes to these other nations, their identity is everything. Knowing who your people come from, what they spring from, the culture, the worship practices, the food, all of these things, those things are very important, and those things are vital to who these other nations are. That's why they are so strong and so powerful. If everybody had to go through what we had to go through, which is basically getting your head chopped off and running around like a chicken, right, meaning getting your heritage, being cut away from your heritage, they would lose their mind. They would have given up a long time ago. But because of the resiliency and the strength and the power and the fact that we are the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we're still here and we're still surviving, but we're surviving in ignorance. Right. We're surviving through a lack of knowledge. We're surviving, thinking that this is life. This is not life. This is not no goddamn life. Not knowing who you are and thinking that you're a Black American. You're a Black American. You're American. You're from Louisiana. You're from New York. Black people have this thing where they just so full of themselves and so prideful and say, you know what, I don't know. But you know what? I was born in California. I'm Californian. I was born in Iowa. I'm from Iowa. And we'll settle for that, and we'll live in a complete lack of understanding of who we are in darkness, and never ever find out that you're God's chosen people, and never ever give a damn. There's a problem with that. There's a problem with not knowing and just thinking that this existence and how you living, and how you're struggling, and how life is right now. That's all it is. You're just here to live, eat, crap, and die, and that's not it.
Right.
Read it from the top.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
We rejected that knowledge. We rejected the knowledge. We reject the knowledge. Black and Hispanic people reject it every day. I've seen it with my own eyes for the last 10 years. Black and Hispanic people would rather be American, would rather be black, would rather be African, would rather be anything other than the children of Israel, other than God's chosen people.
Right.
We are so full of pride that it hurts us, and we die because of it. And then once we die because of it, then we cry because of it. And the Lord looks and he says, you know what? I've sent messengers. I've sent men. I've sent this truth into the earth again. Why won't you heed? Why won't you listen? Why don't you get it? Why are you so hard-headed? Why are you so stiff-necked? Right? Read it one more time.
Come on. The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
The Lord said he rejected us. Listen, I don't want to be rejected. Anytime I can learn something, I'm going to try to learn. I'm going to humble myself and try to learn. I'm trying to learn every day. I'm trying to learn something new every day. I do not know everything, and I can admit that. But it's time for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to admit that you don't know every goddamn thing.
Right.
And maybe there's some things you need to know and you need to learn so that your life could change, and so that your people, your community can change.
Right.
It won't change overnight. It won't change from voting. It won't change for you protesting. It won't change from you dreaming. It will only change from you finding out what your identity and what your true purpose is in this world and in this earth.
Right.
Okay, you could drop that. Any of y'all brothers got any questions or anything we went over? Anything? What about you, young man? Yeah, you. No sweat. Let me get what I want. We went over this last week, but give me Mark 3:27.
Talk to 3:27. This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house.
The thing is that a man will protect his house. But if you come in that house and you tie that man up, he can't protect his house. And now his house can be spoiled. Now you can go into his house, you can take everything out the house. You can destroy his family too, because he can't protect the house. Right. Well, that thing with Martin Luther King destroyed our house. It destroyed him connecting us to America through integration, destroyed what we had going on. A lot of people don't know this, but black families were doing damn near better than white families from the 1920s to the 1940s and 50s, until the civil rights movement came along. And then you had, the welfare, you had the women's liberation, you had, all of those things come and destroy us. Black families were two-parent households, making good money, better than white families in a lot of cases. So our community was a lot better, a lot stronger, more robust. We wasn't in the truth, but the single thing from being separated, just being separated, made us a stronger people. Can you imagine that? Now you're gonna tell me the Bible ain't real? The Bible tells us to separate and be separate from all nations. Now I'm gonna say that again. Now, black people were doing better when they were separated. Now they were doing better, but it's not because they was in the truth. It's simply because they were separated. That's it. White folks didn't like black people, so black people had to build their own schools and build their own towns. And that has never been done again. That has not been done since integration. There's been no Black Wall Street. There's been no HBCUs since integration. But before, when everything was segregated, black people was building all kind of stuff. So who's really lazy? Who's really blind? Who really just don't understand who they are? Who really just needs their foundation and an identity, and then they probably could rule the damn world. That's right. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You could rule the world with a little bit of knowledge. You can rule the world. You know what I mean? Imagine not knowing who you are. All you know is that, okay, these people had us in slavery. They don't like us. Cool. We're going to do our thing. And you just building a town here, a town there, a town there. Oh, they don't want us to go to their schools. You build your universities here, here, here. That has never been done. And that's never been done since integration. And they talk about black people as lazy. They talk about black people can't do anything. Like, give me a break. Give me a damn break. Read it from the top.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house.
And now our house is spoiled. Now the things that we have within our community are worthless. Our house is spoiled through Christianity, through Martin Luther King leading us into a burning house. Everything is burnt up. Everything is useless. Everything we do is vain. You can't even find Black and Hispanic people that stand on anything anymore. Christianity doesn't even help you anymore as far as being moral. They got LGBTQ churches now. They got, pastors that are marrying LGBT couples. They got LGBT pastors. So nothing is standing on the foundation of righteousness anymore in the Black and Hispanic community. Everything has been, broken down. Everything has been Americanized. Everything has fallen under the umbrella of Babylon, of the daughter of Babylon. So if you could, we're going to go into this book. Let's get back from Babylon to Timbuktu. I want to talk about the Moors a little bit. I want to talk about the Moors. Young man, come get this book. Got your hand up?
Oh, it's like I was going to say, how you was talking about how Martin Luther King took on other people's cultures. Like at pep rallies, they have like performers from different dance groups.
Excuse me.
So at our school, it's predominantly Mexicans and Blacks.
Right.
So this group was performing, it's belly dancing. So the girls are in short-cut shorts and the little beads around their thing. But then the I.S.U.P.K sisters come out with the dance where they throw the dresses. And I was like, this is the only moral performance on campus, and it's our people. But as soon as we
wait, say that again. Tell me about what you said earlier before the I.S.U.P.K came out.
So there's like a group called belly dancing. Belly dancing.
Belly dancing. Oh, okay. Hey, what's belly dancing for the chat? For the brothers and sisters that's in the chat right now, what is belly dancing? Is that an Arab custom?
The Indians.
That's us East Indian custom. Okay.
So they were in short-cut shorts and shirts. And the I.S.U.P.K sisters come out with they dance with the with the long dresses where they throw the dresses.
Yeah.
I was saying this is the only moral performance on campus. They cover from neck to toe.
Right.
But as soon as we start doing what everybody else is doing, now we dressed up and shortcuts. I'm like, that's crazy, like what you said.
Right.
How Martin Luther King took on other people's cultures and it destroyed us. And in front of the whole school, they parading their bodies. But the I.S.U.P.K sisters come out, dressed up beautiful,
Yeah.
Neck to toe covered.
Right.
Nothing crazy.
If y'all could hear the young man was saying that the performances at his high school, they had the East Indians. or
the dance is East Indian, but it was Israelite sisters.
Like, oh, it was okay. Israelite sisters dancing in East Indian style with
their culture,
the belly dance
on their culture.
Say that again.
Like we doing what they do.
Oh, okay. We're taking on their culture. That's your point. So he was just saying how the difference between taking on their culture, like Martin Luther King took on the culture of Mahatma Gandhi. He took on that culture of nonviolence. Mahatma Gandhi, you know, he burned himself alive in protest. Mahatma Gandhi was, I believe, he was in the 70s or 80s. He wanted to sleep naked with his niece. But this is the man that Martin Luther King patterned his nonviolent protest after. But taking on that culture, like the young man was saying, that in high school, he's seen that at the performances where they took on the culture of the East Indians and the belly dancing when they're showing their body. But the only really moral performance was the Israelites, where they're dressed from head to toe. They're dancing with their dresses on, but they're covered from head to toe. And it's the only thing that is decent and modest. But it goes back to taking on the culture of another man, of another people. Right. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about the Moors. I want to talk about, you know, who are the Moors? You hear the term Moor. You know what the Moors is? Who the Moors were? You. You have never heard of the term of Moor.
I heard of it.
You know, the first time I heard the term Moor, it was from that movie called Black Knight. You're probably too young to know. It's a movie with Martin Lawrence called Black Knight, and they kept calling him a Moor. But they was saying it in a way like nigga. The way they was, you Moor. They was saying it in a way that it was derogatory. Okay. But anyway, there's a lot of talk about whether or not being Moorish is a nationality, whether Moors or black people are Moors. You have the Moorish Science Temple here in America. You have black people that say that we are Moors. You've had a sect of Moors start here in America. You have people that go into courtrooms and talk about, you know, try to defend themselves with jurisdictions and Moorish law, but I forget the name of the law. I'll look it up. But the law, it's a law that pertains to the oceans, or international law. Okay, but I want you to read out of Babylon of Timbuktu. We're going to read a little bit about the Moors, or Moorish Empire, so we can get a little understanding about the Moors. All right. Just start with the paragraph. It's not necessarily what's highlighted, but yeah.
This is
make sure you got the microphone close to you. So here.
This is page 109 out of the book from Babylon to Timbuktu, the Moorish Empire. In less than 100 years, the black Arabs have pushed their way completely across North Africa in the 7th century. At this time, the Arabs were black. They had
at this time what?
The Arabs were black.
Now, this is not something that is not known. We're reading from Babylon from Timbuktu, but the Arabs as you know them today, you don't look at Arabs as being black. You know, you look at Arabs as being, you know, light brown. You see Arabs that run liquor stores and things of that nature in the hood, and you have an idea what Arabs look. You see them on television, the Palestinians. You have an idea what Arabs look, but Arabs originally were black. They were sons of Abraham. Go ahead.
At this time, the Arabs were black. They had not mixed much with other people. The Arabs did penetrate into the interior of the Sahara Desert, but only in small numbers, so that the territory remained basically African. Mulay Idris, the descendant of Ali, the son-in-law of Muhammad, brought northern Morocco under his control late in the 7th century. His son and successor was Idris II, who founded the kingdom of Fez. At this time in the land of Spain, the black Jews were persecuted, and many had fled to Morocco for refuge.
At this time, the what in Spain?
At this time in the land of Spain, the black Jews.
I don't like that, but it says the black Jews, but the Jews, meaning black. When they say black Jews, it's just disingenuous because the Jews are black. You don't have to say black Jews, or you don't have to say black Hebrew Israelites. This book is well researched. This is written by Rudolph Windsor, a black man, Babylon from Timbuktu. A lot of the information in this book I never really looked at. A lot of it is in other places. So when I say it's well researched, is because I've researched these things in other places and from primary sources. But what he goes into is the fact that the Jews were in Spain. The Jews were in Spain. and the Moors were a black race. Okay, keep reading.
Okay. As a result of this persecution, the Jews of Morocco and the Moors planned to invade Spain with the assistance of Spanish Jews. In the meantime, the plot was uncovered, and the Jews of Spain suffered for their intentions.
So, okay, I'll keep going. Keep reading.
Early in the 8th century, the Mohammedans from Morocco united with the Jews.
Mohammedans.
The Mohammedans from Morocco united with the black Jews, made what we call an amphibious landing at
Gibraltar. Now, what this is talking about is the Mohammedans. Now, Moors were considered Mohammedans, Arabs. That was what Moors were. Christians looked at Moors as being people who were from Morocco. Morocco is on the Horn of Africa, and I'll show you on the map. Now, if you look at this map, Morocco, I have it circled to the left, is the Horn, the top part of the Africa. And to the right, you have a closer view of what is circled, where Morocco connects to Spain. Well, not connects, but there's a little strait right there where you can go through, a little pass you can go through in the ocean. But Moors were considered Arabs, okay? Now, not to say that Moors is a nationality, because it was not. Go ahead.
This invasion was successful.
Salakia, read that part from the top where they came together and they went to Gibraltar.
Early in the 8th century, the Mohammedans from Morocco united with the black Jews, made what we call an amphibious landing at Gibraltar. This invasion was successful.
So the Moors, or the Arabs, invaded Spain. Before they did that, they came together with Jews who lived in Morocco, Jews who lived in Algiers, Tunisia, Jews that live in the Horn of Africa. There were Israelites living in Africa at this time. They came together and they got along good. The Jews and the Arabs, the black Arabs, they came together and they decided to go and invade Spain. And they invaded Spain. And they took over Spain. They took over Spain in 711. They took over Spain to the point where they brought science, mathematics, architecture, bathing, you know, how to take baths. They brought all of these things to Spain. At the time, these parts of Spain was ruled by the Visigoths. The Visigoths were ruling Spain, but there were Jews in Spain living at this time that were persecuted. Just like there's Jews living in America that are persecuted. Jews, black people, blacks and Hispanics that have positions of government in American government. Well, it was Jews that lived during that time that were, you know, in high standing. One of their names was Rodrigo. Okay. But there were Jews, just to give you an idea, and they were under a lot of harsh treatment living in Spain by the Spanish. But the Moors came in and they took it over. Now, in the story, it says that they were led by a general named Tariq. And Tariq, whenever they would conquer a city, they would leave the city to the Jews and keep moving on, taking over more cities. So they came in and they took over Gibraltar. They took over Cordoba, Toledo, Seville. The list goes on and on. But they would leave the Jews in possessions of the lands to take care of them. Now, when it comes to the historical record, you don't hear a lot about Jews. You don't hear a lot about the Jews being Moors or any of that. You just hear about the Moors. You don't hear about the Jews until the Spanish expulsion of the Jews, until the Spain was kicking the Jews out. That's when you hear about the hundreds of thousands of Jews. But Jews were in Spain. Jews were in rulership positions. Jews were in leadership positions. Jews were everywhere. Israelites. I'm saying Jews, but Israelites, okay? Keep reading.
Nahum Schlaus says that the first one to set foot on the soil of Spain was General Tariq.
General Tariq. That's what I said, right? Go ahead.
A Jew of the tribe of Simeon, after whom the island of Tarifa, opposite Tangiers, was named. However, the Rock of Gibraltar, previously known as the Pillars of Hercules, received its new name from the great Moorish conqueror Gabel al-Tariq.
Let me see it. Let me see it. Well, I want you to read something. Bring the book here. Bob Gashah. The water. Let me see. Let me see. Now I want you to get this right here. This is page 115. Yeah, just hold it real quick. Now, this is the book that I have called The Moors, right? The Moors, Islam in the West. Now, you don't need to read it. They can see it. I think we can see it. We're good, right? We're good. The Moors, Islam in the West. This is a good book to have. Okay. Now, in this book, you good. Go ahead and sit down. In this book, I'm gonna pull up some of the stuff that's in this book, okay, just to show you. I want to show you something. Now, in this book, this is a temple in Andalusia under the Moors during the Moorish rule. This is the ceiling. It's a shield of David designed into the ceiling. Now, when we talk about the Moors is very tricky. You can't just say Moors was a people. Moors were Arabs, they were Israelites, and they were Berbers. They were North Africans. So it's a mixture of people during this time. So you can't say that Moor is a nationality because it was never a nationality. It's just something that the European Christians called dark people during that time. They called them Moors. They called the people that were from Morocco and from the Horn of Africa Moors. Now here's the image of the Arabs conquering or taking one of the cities. As you can see, they were black. They were black men, and these were armies made up of Arabs, Israelites, and Berbers, different groups that came together, confederate, to invade Spain. Now, right here, you have this is Majorca, an island, okay, that is being attacked. This is a fresco. But this is the tricky thing about this. When it comes to frescoes and paintings, what you have to understand is that when the white man came into power, he wanted to repaint these images. He wanted to put himself in these images. So you see that on top, you see that there's a black man on the top of the castle next to a white man. That is not what it really was. It was all black men. These are Moors, okay? But they have to put themselves in there. But the more important thing is the thing that you see on top. They're flying a flag with the shield of David on it. They're shooting slings and they're flying a flag with the shield of David on it. You could see it at the top. These are supposed to be Moors. We know that Moors were not white, but nowadays people say that Moors could be anything because Moors are from Morocco. And today in Morocco, you have, different levels of skin tones and complexions. But the original Moors, our Arabs, our Israelites, were black. And it's clear that this painting has been tampered with. But what you do see is that they left one black, and they left the flag where you could see that they flew a flag with a shield of David on it. Okay. If you could give me that expulsion.
This is page 115 from the book From Babylon to Timbuktu.
Uh-huh.
The expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal. It was AD 1492, January 2nd, when the Moorish stronghold of Granada surrendered to the armies of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. For the first time since the year 711, all of Spain was in Christians' hands. Keep going.
So King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella expelled the Jews from Spain. And at this time, Spain had been in the hands of the Moors for 700 years. It had not been, it used to be Christian, but once the Moors invaded, they took it over and held it for 700 years. And they brought the level of Europe to a high level because of the math, because of the language, because of the science. They had Jews that were very smart, doctors, people very intelligent in their fields and whatever they did, that brought the level of civilization in that area to a high level. So when they were expelled out, these white people, these Spaniards, inherited a great country, because the country, as far as the architecture, as far as the education, the school systems, was top notch. Right. But it was lifted up by the Moors, or in this case, you would call them the sons of Muhammad and Israelites, that lifted it up. In Spain and Portugal were the first countries to come out on top out of the Dark Ages because of that, because they were places where the Moors had ruled. So they came out of the Dark Ages more advanced than other European countries because of the head start they had from taking over everything that they had gotten from the civilization that the Moors had brought. Keep reading.
The decree to expel the Jews from Spain was signed on March 31st in one of the corridors of the Great Alhambra, the palace of the Moorish kings of Granada. The reason given for the expulsion of the Jews was that it was thought they corrupted the Morenos, Jews converted to Christianity, by privately encouraging them in disloyalty to Christianity. The ultimatum given to the Jews expired August 1st, 1492, but the last group of Jews did not leave until August 2nd, 1492. This date is of a strange coincidence. That day was the 9th of AB, the fast day, which is reminiscent of the destruction of the first and second temples. Professor Alan H. Goldby says that the reign of the last Jewish king of Ghana terminated in 1492. In order to satisfy Queen Isabella of Spain, King Manuel of Portugal promulgated a royal decree expelling the Jews and Moors from his country in 1496.
So the Jews were expelled. They were kicked out of Spain, and the king of Portugal actually accepted some Jews, and he accepted them for a couple of months, and then they would have to leave or pay money. Right? They had another thing when Jews, their children had to be baptized. Either your children be baptized or you have to leave. A lot of Jews refused for their children to be baptized into Christianity. And so they took about 2,000 children and took them and put them on the island of San Tome Principe, which is on the coast of West Africa. I went over this not too long ago. They took these children, these Jewish babies, and put them on an island and left them. And many Jews would just leave. They would leave and go to San Tome. Now, San Tome is close to Cameroon, Gabon. These are West African cities. Gabon being the city where Gaspar Yanga came from. He was said to be a king. Remember, Gaspar Yanga ended up being in Veracruz, where he hooked up with the tribe of Issachar, and they fought the Spanish government to the point where the Spanish government left them alone for 40 years, and they lived in peace. But basically, Judah hooked up with Issachar, and they fought off the Spaniards in Veracruz, Mexico, in the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, these Jews that were expelled, these children that were expelled to San Tome, and men and women that went to San Tome, they say that these brothers and sisters went into the interiors of West Africa also. So these are a lot of these brothers and sisters ended up on slave ships later on. Now, these were rich Jews. These were Jews that had money. These were Jews that were living in Spain, that had influence, had power. But the Spanish government said, you got to go. Either you got to convert to Christianity, or you can convert to Christianity, you can leave, or you can die. Choose one. Choose one. And so the Jews were expelled. You see how it doesn't say the Moors were expelled, but the story starts off with the Moors invading Spain, living in Spain for 700 years. And then when it's time for them to get out, when it's time where the Spaniards, the Christians, are ready to push these people out, it's the Jews being expelled. The Jews are being kicked out. But the history doesn't tell you about the Jews. It tells you about the Moors. And black people are so brainwashed to say, oh, we're Moors. We're the Moors. The Moors were this. They brought science and they brought this. Nigga, you don't even know who the Moors were. You don't even know the ethnicity of the Moors. And let me just say it on record, being Moorish is not a nationality. It is not a nationality that God created. Well, God created 18 nations. I'm right, Karatazar? He created 18 nations, and none of them was Moor. None of them was Moorish. You understand? Moorish is a term. In fact, well, I'll get it for you real quick. Let me just get it real quick for you, so I'll be a little more accurate. Get this. Y'all got any questions? Just put them in the chat. We'll get to that, because it does break it down. Where we at? We at Go ahead.
Was the Moors pre-Spanish Inquisition or post?
The Moors are pre-Spanish Inquisition. So let me see where we at. The Moor, the name given to the Muslims of Andalus and North Africa by the Christians, derives from an ancient word for North Africans contained in Mauritania, the Roman name of northern Morocco. That's all Moor really meant. It's not a nationality. It's a name given by European Christians to dark people. That's it. It's not a nationality. Okay? It never has been. Now, if you could, somebody look up the Moorish international law, so I can bring that into play too, where people use like the brother said, Quadash said, called sovereign nation, right? But they try to use Moorish international law in the court of law in America to say that, judges and stuff don't have no jurisdiction over them. They're a sovereign person, they're an entity. They basically can move around the laws of America. It's an international law, but it's really based on like maritime. I believe, from my memory, it's based on the fact that America was doing business with Morocco, and pirates would raid ships that would go through the top of the Horn of Africa. And so they came with some type of agreement where it was free travel between America and Morocco. Let me hear it.
It says Moorish sovereign cities Moorish sovereign citizens espouse an anti-government doctrine in which its members claim to be part of a sovereign nation. For some who identify themselves as Moorish or something similar, there's a belief that a fictitious 1787 treaty between the United States and Morocco grants them immunity from U.S. law.
So they think because of this treaty between Morocco and United States grants them immunity from law, but it doesn't. Go ahead.
Others, such as Ouachita Nation, may falsely claim to occupy United Nations Indigenous People seat 215. There is no such thing, and create their own birth certificates, passports, driver's license, and vehicle registrations. Moorish sovereigns believe their status as members of a sovereign nation imparts immunity from federal, state, and local authorities. They use this perceived immunity to justify refusing to pay taxes, buy auto insurance, register their vehicles, and to defraud banks and other lending institutions.
So they just thinking that they can get over on everything by using this fictitious law to think that, you know, it gives them immunity to the laws of the land of America. You know what I mean? Which it doesn't. And I've seen this online where you have brothers in there, they got that big hat with the tassels on it, and they're in a court of law saying, you know, you don't got jurisdiction over me, blah blah blah. This I'm a sovereign person and all of that. All of that is garbage. None of that is an identity. None of that is going to help us get out of the struggles and the pain that we are in America. None of that can fix what the problems that we see in our communities right now. It's not going to fix those problems. Only keeping the law, statute, commandments, and understanding that you have a foundation in a base, a bottom line, and something to stand on as far as morality, righteousness, how you treat brothers and sisters, how you move across the world, what you eat, what you drink. You know what I mean? All of these things come into the mind and come into play when you think about the problems of what we're going through, because our problems are not just crime. Our problems are what we eat too, our health. Our problems have to do with a plethora of different things, and the Bible has the answer to every last one of them. But the Moorish Science Temple and being a Moor and sovereignty and all of this stuff does not have the answers to fix those problems, right, as well as those other things you Negroes are into. Egyptology, the Book of Mayat, the Book of the Dead, all of these, these things, the hieroglyphics, none of these things actually have an answer for what's going on today with Black and Hispanic and Indian people. Right. Find me something that has an answer. Find me something that can tell you why are your people going through what they're going through. Find me something that can tell you, can tell you about slavery, how it happened and why it happened. Find me something in the Book of Mayat. Find me something in the Book of the Dead. You can't find it. Find me a prophecy that shows me something that's happening right now today that was written 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. Y'all get up. Y'all love to say we're the ancient Egyptians. We were the Moors. We were this. We were that. But these don't even have an answer for what's going on. Only the Bible can tell you what's going on. Right. People say the Bible is not a history book. Damn that. The Bible is exact on history. Right. The Bible told you that Egypt would be destroyed. Right. It didn't only say that Egypt would be destroyed. It would say where the destruction would come from. It said where it would come from. And it came from the north. It came from Greece. It came from Assyria. And today, Egypt is a desert playground for tourists. Right. Egypt is a place where Arabs, Turks, people who are Arabic, Turkish, Edomite people live, and they claim that they're Egyptian. The ancient Egyptians are no longer. They do not exist. They dig the ancient Egyptians up and desecrate their bodies and put them on display. That's what the Lord did to your pharaohs. That's right. That you think is the gods of the earth and the kings and the queens. The Lord put them on display. Right. And you say, well, where's Jesus Christ's body? Where's their body? Well, the Israelites didn't have the you know, we didn't mummify bodies. That wasn't part of our custom. A body is gone within 200 years. I hope you understand that. I hope you got a little education and you looked at some National Geographic. But a body, if they went to go dig up George Washington's body, it ain't gonna be nothing. So you think about thousands of years, you're not gonna find the biblical patriarchs' bodies. Right. We didn't mummify our bodies because we didn't think that we go to some damn afterlife and live again, and our heart gets weighed and you know, all of that. We go to some dog named Anubis, and go ahead.
I was gonna say also something they honor the dead, like they had that Pharaoh's body all encased, and they're going in there and pray and party and be all up in there and have orgies and do all type of things in the Pharaoh's room,
right?
In honor of the Pharaoh who's dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they honor the dead. They got a god for the dead too.
They got a god. Egypt had thousands of gods. The Israelites had one God.
That's right.
We had one God. But this is the thing. None of these things can answer the question to why we live like what are we going through right now? Only the Bible can tell you that. Only the Bible can fix you. They talk about the book of Ma'at, say, oh, it's the 42 laws of Ma'at. It's the Bible copied it, 42 laws. The Bible has 600 laws. What are you talking about? You want to talk about thou shalt not kill, steal. These are basic things, right? Because they got laws like that in the 42 laws of Ma'at. These are basic. I can go find a tribe that's never seen man before in the jungle, and they're going to have a law that says do not kill. I can find a tribe that's never seen man before. They have a law that says don't steal. Right. These are basic. So you can't say, you can't use 10, 4 or 5 commandments out of the first 10 to say, oh, look, they copy that. The Bible copied that from us. No, everybody has a basic law. Then you can't take somebody else's stuff. I don't care if you're a Neanderthal. You're gonna get clocked upside the head. You can't just take somebody's stuff. You can't steal. You can't covet somebody. I don't care if you're a caveman. You kill somebody, you're gonna have to pay. Right. Those laws are basic. They go all across the board. You know what I mean? But let me get. I'm gonna get one more thing. Give me let me get give me Second Chronicles. No, give me Second Chronicles 6:37. And I think I'll end it with that. Listen, man, we're the children of God. We're the children of God. That's the bottom line, man. Yes. We're the children of God. I brought out this history of the Moors. The Moors, just a recap, the Moors were considered Arabs. They were considered black Arabic people. Now, you know that Moses was black. And of course, his sons was black. Over time, his sons have mixed with Edomites. That's why Arabs look how they look today. But the original Arabs, and there's still some today, they were black. They were black just like black people are in America. You know what I mean? But also, they came together with Israelites that were scattered in the Horn of Africa, and they decided to invade Spain. And when they invaded Spain, they took over Spain. History calls them the Moors, but we know from different sources that this was a mixed group of people. This wasn't one nationality. This was a mixed group of people, and outsiders like European Christians called them Moors because they came from Morocco, Mauritania. These are this is where they get the word Moor from. And so just for the understanding, once all of that settled and now the Moors were pushed back out of Spain, at the end, at the last stand, it turned into the expulsion of the Jews. And so these Jews were expelled and they went back into Africa. They went back into Northern Africa. And there is a brother that is living today. I should pull him up. There's a brother that's living today. I need to put his brother up. Let me pull him up real quick. He's living today. He's let me see. Let me get it real quick. What's this brother's name? Make sure. Let me make sure. Y'all bear with me. I'm finna get this. I'm trying to find this brother. Always get his name mixed up. Something like it. You got that preset? Just hold it. Just hold it. So like, yeah, I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's see. Now this brother is from Timbuktu. He's from Timbuktu, and he's traced. Okay, this him. Yes, this is him. I was calling him Israel. It's Ismael Daidi Haidara. Okay. Now he speaks Arabic and he speaks Spanish. And let me just pull him up real quick. I'm glad y'all stayed with me. So we can I would love to talk to this brother. That's why brothers need to learn some Spanish, man. To learn some damn Spanish. I'm just gonna share this page. Oh, still got 13 people. Y'all up in here with me. Let me share the screen. Okay. Now, this brother right here, this brother is Ismael Daidi Haidara. Okay. This brother is from Timbuktu. Timbuktu, you know, had great libraries. Islam took over took over Africa, went into Timbuktu. There was a king named King Askia. When this king came into power, before it was cool for the Jews, but when he came into power, he hated Jews and he wanted Jews, out of Timbuktu. And he said any Berber or any merchant that frequents or does business with Jews, he would seize their property. He would seize their goods. It became a hard thing to be a Jew in Africa. Now, a lot of Jews in Africa, under the guise of Islam, they pretended to be Islamic, but they were Jews by bloodline. Now, this brother right here, his father, he traced his bloodline. His forefather, his grandfather would live in Toledo. Where's Toledo? Toledo is in Spain when the Moors were ruling Spain. His grandfather left Spain when the Spanish expulsion happened. His grandfather was a Jew that was kicked out, and he relocated in Timbuktu. This brother has about 300 books written in ancient Hebrew, ancient Arabic, and in Spanish, documented, ancient, that's been passed down to him. But he traced his bloodline to his great grandfather being a Jew that it was expelled out of Spain. Now, this is what the real Jews look like. That's what a real Jew looks like. You understand? You see that, black man? That's what a Jew looks like. Let me pull it up. This brother right here. I'm gonna make it big. Let me make it big. I didn't even get to show y'all. I didn't even get to show y'all the Moorish artifacts. Let me show you some of these Moorish artifacts. Look, I done forgot I done had these Moorish artifacts. Another good book is History Knows No Color Line. Okay, that's a book brothers and sisters should get. History Knows No Color Line. All right, let me see. This is the brother I was talking about. Now, this brother has he lives in Timbuktu. His bloodline goes back to his great-great-grandfather that lived in Toledo, Spain, who was expelled during the expulsion of the Jews, and he moved back down to Timbuktu. This is what Jews look like. The Jews that were kicked out of Spain. The Jews that previously would have been called Moors in Spain, who conquered Spain, who brought language and brought bathing and brought, mathematics and sciences to Spain and brought the level up of white Europeans. This is a descendant of those people, of those Jews that were kicked out of Spain when Ferdinand and Isabella expelled the Jews out of Spain. Okay. We're going to go to about 9:15. I'm just letting y'all know right now. If y'all want to rock. If you can't, hey, Shalom, Lord Christ. Where I'm at, what I want to do. I'm going to show y'all some more artifacts real quick. Let me show you some of these artifacts. These Moorish artifacts. I had something else in here. Let me see. There's something else. There we go. Let me get it. Get down here. Show you this Moorish brooch. Where's the sister at? Where's that? So lucky. I thought I had it. Okay, here we go. Now, Nature Knows No Color Line. If you look, you get that book, what you'll see is that there are a lot of Moorish coats of arms. Okay. Well, here's a Moorish coat of arms. I pray you understand. With the mitre tied around the head with the shield of David. The book Nature Knows No Color Lines has like so many of these things where you see the coat of arms and black people in rulership. The coat of arms is like the crest of the family. And so this is everywhere. Now, I want you to you got what I asked for, okay? Okay. We're about to wrap it up, okay? So give me that, and I'm going to get, you can hold that. Just hold that. Now I'm gonna drop this. I'm gonna drop that. That I'm done with the Moorish thing, okay? Just showing you that what they call Moors could have been anything. Now we know historically Moors would have been Arabs, but we see that Moors is Israelites also. Okay. Everybody knows that when you see the mitre tied around the head, a lot of those family crests are considered Moors in Europe. That's not even an argument. Okay. Now, when it comes to black people, like I said before, we are the children of God. We are God's chosen people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are the real Jews of the Bible. We are the biblical ethnic people that crossed the Red Sea with Moses. We are those people.
Right.
And you need to understand that, and you need to wake up to that, because everybody else understands that. All of the people over the world understand that there's something about you that you don't know about yourself. You understand? Now, when you talk about some of the things that have happened in history, you've had COINTELPRO, the United States CIA, the CIA in their covert operations say, we're looking for a black messiah to come up out of black people. This is like in the 40s and the 50s. They're looking at black people because they're expecting a messiah to rise up out of black people. Why is that? Because they know that you're the children of God.
Right.
They understood that you were the children of God. You had Robert Kennedy, JF Kennedy's brother, say, what if we've been treating these people this way for so long, and then all of a sudden we go to heaven and we see that God is black? Then what? It's because they understand that who you are. They understand that you are the children of God.
Right.
You had the Egyptian prime minister say that the Jews left black, but they came back white. There will never be peace out here. Talking about the Jewish man who is now in Israel. He said the Jews left black, but then they came back white. There can never be no peace, because many people know that you are God's chosen people and that you are the biblical Israelites and that you are the people of the book. You are the people that God raised up to be a priest and prophet unto the world. Now look at this. I want you to see this, because this is not something that is new. This is something that I research and I know. And I've shown you in the last book where the slaves felt that they were the children of Israel. Okay. Now this book is from When We Were Slaves. It says, us niggas didn't have no secret meetings. All us had was church meetings in arbors out in the woods. The preachers would exhort us and us that us was the children of Israel in the wilderness, and the Lord done us made us like a land milk of honey. I'm trying to read it like them, Salakia. But they would go into the woods, and they said the preachers would exhort them and tell them that they were the children of Israel. They were God's chosen people. These are the slaves that would sneak away at night, not at the church, not around white people, would go into the forest, and they would tell themselves that they were the children of Israel. Now give me that, brother.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 6, verse 37. Yet, if they bethink themselves in the land whither they are carried captive.
If you bethink yourselves, if you remember who you were in the land where you were taken captive, that's what the Lord is trying to get to you with the I.S.U.P.K. He's trying to get you to remember. He's trying to get you to snap up out of the damn dream that Martin Luther King put you in, right, the damn nightmare that Martin Luther King put you in. Snap up out of the Christianity and snap into your inheritance. Go ahead, read it from the top.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 6, verse 37. Mm-hmm. Yet if they bethink themselves in the land whither they are carried captive, and turn and pray unto thee in the land of their captivity, saying, we have sinned, we have done amiss, and have dealt wickedly. Verse 38, if they return to thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their captivity, whither they have carried them captives, and pray toward their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers, and toward the city which thou hast chosen, and toward the house which I have built for thy name, then hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place.
The Lord will hear you. The Lord said you would have to bethink. You have to remember who you are. Your ancestors are dead. Your ancestors, them slaves, they wrote it down. They're dead, but they remembered. They exhorted themselves as being the children of Israel. in the wilderness. They knew a little bit. How the hell you think we got this truth? The I.S.U.P.K didn't come out of thin air. This truth comes from slaves, remembering that they were the children of Israel. And the Lord said, if you remember in the lands where you were carried captive, then I will hear from my dwelling place. If you turn and you face the place that I have chosen, meaning face the east, then I will hear you. Then I will come. Then I will not allow these things to happen to you. Then I will look and I'll have mercy on you. Listen, we are the children of God. And if you don't understand it yet, you will understand it. We will bring it to you. We will get it through your brain that you are God's chosen people. And there is no dream. There is no thing. There is no success without learning who you are as a people. That's the class. We good. The water. Hey, Shalom, Israel. Let me just give some shout outs real quick. Hey, Shalom. Hey, listen, listen. Man, we've been having some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. But the water to y'all for rocking with me. The water to Olivia Arnold, Quadash, always up in here. Carl Masbaf, Rathanawa, Black Dazzle, always up in here. That Gamer Honesty 06 up in here. You know, let me see who else up in here. Yasharala up in here. Yeah, and we'll be out of here. The Water Israel for rocking with us. We'll be back next Wednesday, possibly with some heavy, hard-hitting truth. Shalom.